Welcome to Elite Broker, the podcast showcasing the leading players and stories of success from Australia's broking industry.
Hello and welcome back to this episode on the Advisor Podcast Network. I'm your host for today, Annie Kane. And in this week's episode, we're talking to an asset finance and commercial broker in the form of Felix Katzen from Katzen Financial Group. Now, the last couple of months, the Advisor's been doing a deep dive into commercial finance. You might have seen the November edition of the magazine was our commercial ranking. We've had the Broker's Guide to Commercial Finance come out, the supplement. We did our Commercial Finance Awards in November. We've been obsessed with all things commercial finance, and we thought it was high time we did a commercial finance brokerage podcast as well. So Felix has come in to join us today to talk about how he's been growing his finance brokerage here in Sydney, what sort of things and trends he's seeing in the asset finance space at the moment, and what he's got planned to grow his business in the future. Thanks for joining me, Felix. How are you going?
Yeah, well, thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming into North Sydney. You were saying just before we went live, you actually used to work in this building back in the day.
Yeah, so my first job out of university, my first job in finance was actually a couple floors below this.
Oh.
I was working in the stock market.
Yes. So, I mean, you know the building well, but what your career has changed, obviously, over that time. Is it weird coming back and like going back over your old stomping grounds?
It was a little bit, to be honest. Like walking kind of the main doors down the front is like where we all used to sit and have our lunch break, and then coming up the lifts again, it was weird.
Yeah,
but
sorry.
Good.
Yeah, not too traumatic, hopefully.
No.
So for anyone who's not met you before, Felix, because normally I think on Elite Broker, we're talking to either like really resi brokers or maybe some people who kind of do a bit of everything, but you're a kind of different breed. And I think in November particularly, we did a lot of focus on commercial brokers, on commercial finance. We had our Commercial Finance Awards. We did the Commercial Finance Supplement. The magazine had the Commercial Finance Ranking. We've done a lot of talk and I think amplification recently of commercial brokers. And we thought, well, we need to get some more on the podcast as well. So thank you for coming to join me. For anyone who doesn't know your story though, can you give me a bit of background to what sort of loans you're writing at the moment? Like what kind of broker are you?
Yeah, so we are mainly commercial asset. It's probably, I would say, 70% of what my business does. So think like anything from passenger vehicles, Toyota Camrys, up to luxury vehicles, exotic vehicles, and then heavy machinery, trucks, weird machinery, CNC machines, really weird and wonderful. We've done solar panels. We've done just like things you wouldn't even think about financing.
Yeah.
Commercial fit outs. So we kind of do everything in the commercial space. We don't, the only thing we don't do is the property side of things, which really surprises a lot of people.
Yeah, because most brokers, I think, they'll be like, I want that as the big ticket kind of thing, is the commercial property and or the development finance type stuff. Why have you sort of chosen not to do that?
We've built the business in a way, look, what we do, the volume per loan is significantly smaller. So we focus on volume of loans. Yeah. So we write what I like to think would be probably quite a bit more than your standard resi broker would in a month, for much smaller volume, but it ends up kind of making us whole by the end of the month. We've got to have a lot of referral partners, a lot of sources of incoming business, and it kind of makes up for the fact that we don't get those big ticket items or those big trails.
Yeah. And did you ever kind of think, like, when you first started broking, like that was what you wanted to do? Were you like, I'm going to focus on this specifically, or did it kind of just happen organically?
Bit of both. I mean, I started with a company called the London Group, which did mostly luxury car finance, was most of what I did there. And so it was kind of just a natural progression to keep that going. I think the only difference between that and now is we've moved into more doing the weird and wonderful for the commercial equipment side of things.
Yeah. And what's the weirdest thing you've ever financed?
That's a really good question.
Well, maybe the hardest thing you've ever financed as well.
I think the hardest thing I financed is I did, and probably one of the coolest things I've ever financed is I did a 2008, 2009 Porsche 911 997 GT2 for about $500,000. It was the last full doc.
$500,000?
Yeah. It was the last full doc transaction that Macquarie ever did before they shut off their full doc product.
I mean, that's a good one to go out with a bang with, isn't it?
Yeah. And that's probably the coolest car. Probably the coolest thing I've ever financed.
Do you know what? You can tell I'm really not a petrol head, that my first thought is, what colour was it?
Silver.
Yeah, nice. That's all I care about. That's about it. That's the extent of my car knowledge.
It was a very, very, very cool car. It was actually bought from the Classic Throttle Shop, which is just down the road.
Down the road. Lovely. So walk me through then your journey to becoming a broker, because I think like for anyone kind of in this industry, there's always a certain route they've taken, there's no clear like one trajectory. Everyone comes at it from different places, from different industries, with different qualifications, different ages. You're still pretty young.
Yes.
So how old were you when you first actually thought you wanted to be a broker and then first became a broker?
I actually fell into broking, to be honest. So as I said, I was working downstairs at this stock market company. Basically, I was a connector. So I was making lots of cold calls every single day, connecting people with my manager, the other brokers, etc. I did that job for about 6 months and decided that I didn't like it. I always thought I wanted to be a stockbroker. Left that job and I was out of work for about a month. And I had 2 interviews lined up. One of them was to go to Kennedy's to be a luxury watch salesman.
Yeah, wow.
Because I love watches.
Right.
And the other one was to go and be an interview to be a finance broker. And it was completely random, just applied on Seek. And I went for the interview with the finance brokerage and I cancelled my interview with the watch company and started straight away.
What did you like about it?
I can't explain it. It was everything that I was looking for in the stockbroking business that it couldn't offer me. It was the freedom. It was I got into that interview and they just spoke to me like a real person. It was very, very down to earth. I think I also got lucky with the company I went to. But they spoke to me. It was down to earth. The environment was live. It was pumping. There was adrenaline. It was just everything I wanted as a 19-year-old.
Yeah. So you then started your training. You had to do your
Yes.
Cert 4 and stuff. How did you find that whole process?
I think the Cert 4 was all right. I would it's very heavily weighted towards mortgage broking. But I think it's good to have that experience. So it wasn't too bad.
And then started broking.
Yes.
What was the first thing you financed? Can you remember?
Yes, it was a Holden Ute.
Of course it was.
It was a Holden Ute. It was a gentleman who I had cold called 2 months ago, and we've been chatting like back and forth. And eventually we were talking, and I did a follow-up, and I was like, "You ready?" And he was like, "Yep." And financed his Ute.
There we go. And really the rest is history. So you focused on that ever since. And you mentioned that obviously this was a company you started with, but since then you've gone on to actually start your own company. A lot of the big decisions that you have to make when you're first starting out, obviously like, am I going to go with the ACL route? Am I going to go under an aggregation group's license? Which aggregation group am I going to go with? Am I going to have a franchise brokerage? How did you make all those decisions?
It was actually a really easy decision for me. So at the company I was working at before, I was aggregating through COG. In the asset finance space, they're incredibly good. The service is good. The panel is incredible. I had built up quite, not a big portion I would say, but like a couple, maybe like 5 or 6 other asset finance brokers who were on other aggregators panels who were referring cross-panel to me to write their transactions because we had a bigger panel. So when I had to take that step to move over, it was a no-brainer. Straight to COG. Straight to COG.
And yeah, as we know, major asset finance brokerage, huge one as well. It's got I think like thousands of brokers, and really specializing in that space. Do you think it's important to have an aggregator that is a specialist in what you want to specialize in?
I think so, yes. I think the main thing for us is we don't have every accreditation on panel. I think to have like 55 or 68, how many they've got, it'd be a bit ridiculous to have every single lender. But we do use most of the lenders on panel. So I think where it comes into play like that having that experience piece is really important is when we need to refer back internally, I know that my transactions, my clients are going to be looked after, I should say, because their team has done it hundreds of times before with their own clients, with other brokers' clients. So it becomes a really stress-free process to refer back internally.
So that's interesting. So you've chosen not to accredit with everyone because who's got the time? But you can then, if you do find a product that is best suited for your client, refer internally to somebody else in the aggregation group so they can write it because they're accredited.
Yeah. So as an example, like Volkswagen Financial Services is a really good example of this. It's very, very, very difficult to get accredited as a broker unless you've got a dealer license.
Right.
I don't know how many there are, but there are very, very few brokers who have a direct accreditation with them. So that's one lender that we have to refer internally, and we do use them fairly often.
Yeah.
And it's just easy. It's like dealing with someone else who's on my team.
Yeah.
You know, there's not a disconnect, which is important.
So what do you most like about being an asset finance broker? Is it the cool cars?
It's the cool cars. It's the speed of transaction, to be honest. We can work on almost an unlimited amount of transactions at once. The turnarounds are really quick. The clients are really happy because the results are really quick and easy. And it creates kind of this pumped up, energy filled environment where everyone's moving, everyone's going, everyone's celebrating. The clients are happy, the partners are happy, and it makes it really exciting. Time absolutely flies. You blink and it's like a year, but it's really, really good fun. Yeah.
And you've been doing this now for, as I said, sort of 4 or 5 years, but you recently started your own company.
Yes.
KFG, finger looking good.
Yep.
So Katzen Financial Group. Why did you decide to kind of go out on your own and set up your own thing?
I think there's 2 main reasons. Number one, it was a bit of a natural progression. And the other reason is I did start another company as well, which I've actually shut down now. But at the time I was working as a contractor for the business that I originally was employed by. As that contractor, I'd actually hired people underneath me because I was too busy to do all of it by myself. So I was starting to pay salaries and stuff on contractor commission.
Wow.
And then at the same time, my other business was starting to take off. And because I was still a contractor, I'm still technically part of their business. I didn't feel it was fair to sit there and work on this new business for 2 or 3 hours a day while I was sitting in their office.
What was the other business? The watch business?
It was outsourcing.
Oh,
it was an outsourcing company.
Of course it was. Why?
Again, it was just like, so my one of my biggest referral partners at the time, who was also a broker, his entire team was offshored. And we were just sitting there at an event once and someone was talking to him about it. And I was like, you should do this. And he's like, no, I don't want to do it by myself. But if we do it together, I'll do it. I was like, okay.
So you set that up, but you're no longer involved in that. So you've got KFG, which you're focused on. And I think this is always really kind of a core moment for a lot of brokers, is when they do go out on their own. Suddenly there's that kind of, you've got to really back yourself. You've got to make it work. You've got your name literally on the door as well. So there's a lot of emphasis on you. How did you go through that kind of process? Like, was it just set up an ABN and off you went? Did you go and open an office? Did you, have to hire? What did it actually look like setting up your own business?
When I left my old employer, I actually didn't have much time to plan. It was like I knew maybe a month and a half before I actually left that I was leaving. So it was very, very rushed. We ended up getting a small office in North Sydney, literally the cheapest one we could find. It was like $250 a week. Really
wow.
super, super cheap.
Yeah.
It was no bigger than the room we're in. But the name on paper looked really good. The North Sydney address looked really good for our business. And it meant we could have a physical location to kind of do business. We didn't have a website. I built the website myself on Wix, something that I got fixed later on. Everything was set up by me. It was a difficult transition, but it was one that I do not regret at all.
Yeah. And is it hard then, because you said about having to kind of go from one company as a contractor to your own, what happens to your accreditations?
You lose them.
Yeah, so you had to do that all over again.
Yeah.
Did that mean that you had a bit of downtime while you waited for those to come back up again?
It took about 3 months in total to, I would say, be 100% back to operating capacity. COG was really good. They streamlined a lot of our really important accreditations, like your Angle Finances, your Plenties, like all those lenders just like the really quick lenders that allow you to kind of go in and write business and start running business really quickly. But it did take some time to get everything back up and running.
Yeah. So, I mean, you talked a little bit about the kind of things that you've been doing and how you kind of set up and running. So you then obviously kind of told all your clients, hey, I've got this new company. How did you come up with the name? Did you toss up any other ideas?
I did. Katzen Financial Company, but KFC was not on the table. It was Katzen Financial Group. I wanted to keep the same ABN, and the legal entity name is like the F Katzen Co. or something like that.
Okay.
So it was just like, what's similar to that? Just do it. Let's get the website set up. We got to start trading, basically.
Yeah. And then did you do any marketing? Did you call all your clients? How did you actually get your first kind of, I guess, awareness or foot in the door to people to be like, this is now a thing?
I was very lucky when I left the company that I was at before. They allowed me to take some of my clients with me. There was a mutual agreement basically there that I wouldn't poach and they wouldn't do the same, which I thought was really fair. So I started with a small number of clients, like a small group. And then from there, we just basically went back to ground zero. So day one, I was on the phones.
All right, we're going to take a quick break here. When we come back, I'm going to actually ask you who we is, or who's
Yes.
who in the team, and how many people are kind of with you, and the sort of volumes that you're doing at the moment. And we'll get into that just after this message. So you talked about setting up on your own there and bringing some people with you that you'd hired when you were a contractor. So how many did you start off with in the team, and what did they all do?
2.
Okay,
So it was
easy.
not that many. It was me and my who is now my credit manager for the company.
Okay,
So he's been working with me for probably 2.5 years now.
yeah.
And he was there at the previous company, at the start of this company. And now, obviously, as we're kind of growing, he's still there as the manager.
Yeah, because it's only been, what, a year? Just over a year?
Yeah, like 18 months.
Yeah, so it's still, you're a toddler
It's very new.
in company world. So how much have you grown since then?
Yeah, so we started, I think last year was definitely a year of getting things set up. As I said, like, you know, it took a lot of time to get our accreditations back on track. So I would say that this year is probably like our full first proper year trading. So we started this year in January with 2 people. We have now got 5, including myself as of December. And I think I would like to end the financial year off with 6.
Ooh, and what does everyone do now?
So we've got myself, who I do loan writing, operations, and like sales. We've got a young business development manager who's 19 and very, very good.
I met him.
Yes. He's very energetic.
I mean, yeah, he's a teenager. Yeah. Should be.
But he's really, really good. Then we've got Kai, my credit manager, who does the submissions, compliance. He helps with notes, workshopping deals, like all of the kind of back end stuff. And then we have 2 brokers.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So then when you've got new brokers coming in with you, because I think a lot of people I'm an R a little bit about bringing in other brokers, because especially if it's been your business and you've been so used to kind of bringing in the business and knowing the client experience, it can be a little bit daunting, and kind of, you know, you've got to have a lot of trust to bring someone in and trust that they're going to do what you want to do. How do you kind of hire another broker? Like, did you have a specific thing you were looking for when you're bringing people in? Was it people you already knew? Like, had you worked with them previously? Like, I wonder what advice you'd give to someone who's thinking about bringing another broker alongside them for the first time.
I think, like, I probably wouldn't even look at the resume of a broker who I was going to hire. I'd want to know what kind of experience they had in the industry, but realistically, like, I'd want to just sit down with them and have maybe a 1 or a 2 hour conversation, have them in for a trial day in the office, see how they operate. I think, like, you've kind of got to trust your gut a little bit on it, and like, it's a bit of a pub test.
Take him to the pub.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, at the first one that we hired, he was originally going to come on as a referrer to send us some business because he was with another aggregator. And we got halfway through the meeting and I was like, no, you should join. And he did.
Yeah.
But it's not a formal process. It's really informal. I don't know. It's just a feeling. You just know that you're going to work well with them. You're going to like them.
So like more of a cultural fit.
Yeah, 100%.
And then the second person, you said, so the first one you kind of like was more of just a chat from someone that you weren't even thinking about hiring, and then ended up wanting to hire them. And the second person, did you have more of an idea of like being like, this is what I want you to do? Were you hiring because you were, looking for someone to help with volume, or were you just like, it was happenstance and then you ended up hiring them?
The second person that we hired was an ex-mortgage broker who wanted to come across. There was a couple of reasons why we hired him. One of them was potentially in the future to move into the mortgage space. The idea is there. It probably won't happen, but it's good to have someone there with the experience. And the second reason is that we, obviously kind of the ultimate goal is to expand volume.
Yeah. So let's talk about volume for a little bit, because I think everyone's always curious, and it's so important, I think, when we're talking about volume to talk about maybe number of loans, because especially in asset finance, as you said, high transaction, high volume business, but the dollar value is obviously much, much smaller than it is in commercial mortgages or in resi mortgages. So walk me through how many loans you reckon you're writing, maybe a month.
It does depend, and it does kind of chop and change a little bit. It depends on the size of the loans that we're writing. We do also write larger loans in the commercial space, but most of what we focus on is asset. I would say like anywhere between kind of 25 to 40.
A month?
A month.
Yeah, wow. So you're having to obviously really nail down a process there to make sure that things are moving quickly, particularly on those 40 deal a month months.
It's very, very hectic.
So what is your process to get that all done? Like how do you actually make sure that things are flowing through smoothly?
Our CRM is really good. It helps us track everything. All the team, we can set tasks for other people in the team. Like, it's a really good CRM. I think most of it is just the fact that because the team, we all sit quite close to each other. We're all in proximity of each other. You do kind of just like yell across the room. You're like, oh, I need you to help me with this, and jump to this and this, and we somehow make it work.
Yeah.
But a lot of it comes from just kind of like we build the deals from the ground up, and they're not that complicated. A lot of the time when you're doing as an example, a car loan for a business, you get a driver's license, a privacy, a bit about them, their company, what asset they're looking to buy, and you're pretty much ready to go.
Yeah. There's been a lot of focus, I think, actually on car finance recently, particularly from the regulator.
Yes.
Maybe not so much from brokers, but particularly I think for car dealership finance.
Yes.
Have you seen like issues in the car finance
Massive.
space? What are the kind of problems you're seeing?
The biggest one that really kills me, and I'm glad that it's not so much brokers. There are a few that do it, but it's underquoting interest all the time.
Interest rates?
All the time.
How would they do that?
So they either just flat out lie about what the interest rate is going to be, or they quote on what we would call the base rate of interest, so prior to their fees and commission.
Right.
We literally, I kid you not, have one now that's settling with Westpac. We've just had the approvals come through at 9 a.m. this morning. The broker told the client that it was a 9.95% comparison rate. The lender that he had his approval with doesn't even start at 9.95. They start at 10.45.
Okay.
So,
well, let's stop doing that then.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
A comparison rate, though, is interesting because I think there's a lot of confusion for a lot of people. And I think particularly with asset as well, because there's loads of other different things that go into it. It's not like a sort of mortgage where you can kind of really see there's maybe one fee or maybe two fees. With assets, slightly more things going on. How are you kind of explaining that to the clients?
I think it's like a lot of it's quite transparent. It's just like, look, this is the rate without any fees, charges, or commission. This is the rate with fees, charges, and commission. This is the actual interest rate you're going to be paying.
Yeah. Okay. And kind of breaking that down to like repayment costs.
Yeah, like you can see the difference, right? Like a loan quoted at 7% that costs $900 a month versus our loan that's been quoted at 8% that costs $700 a month. You're like, this doesn't make sense.
Yeah, right. So when you actually go through that kind of process, and you said you've kind of got really high volumes coming through some of the months, do you, aside from the CRM that you're using from your aggregator, do you use any other like technology or tools to help you like with your efficiencies? We
used to have like a really complex Excel spreadsheet set up. And then I showed it to the guy because our CRM's purpose built by another asset finance broker.
Oh, right. It's not the COG one.
No, it's like a custom build. It's called Findesk. It's really, really good. All asset finance brokers should check it out. Just plug it quickly.
Yeah, all right.
But we went and sat down and to do like a retrain on the software, and he was like, you don't need any of this. It's like, we actually do all of this already. So now, no, we just use Findesk.
Wow.
Everything.
And then do you, when it comes to like asset finance, is there anything that you're kind of tracking to keep on top of like trends? Like, do you follow any podcasts? Do you read any news? Like, do you get lessons? Like, what sort of?
Mostly just an advisor.
Yeah, of course. Thank you. Thank you very much for that. Yeah.
The market insights, like every morning or every week, I actually am not 100% sure when they come through, but every time they come through, we just quickly read over it. Like interest rate trends and stuff like that, I think really are important for our industry, but maybe not as pinpoint as important as maybe a mortgage broker would. I think maybe a 0.1% variance in the base rate's not gonna. It will affect us, but not nearly as much as it would say a residential broker.
Yeah.
So I think staying on top of it's really important, but I think just kind of keeping up with the news and the general trends of the market is enough.
Yeah. Just looking at as well the kinds of loans you're writing at the moment. Now, there's been a huge focus. I kind of mentioned not only from regulators around what's happening in car finance, but I think also from a lot of people in terms of the types of cars that are being financed, the types of vehicles. There's been so many, cars coming in from Asia, like the new hybrids. There's like brands that people have never heard of. I mean, I think 4 years ago, no one had heard of BYD, and now every other car seems to be one. Are you seeing any kind of changes in the types of vehicles you're financing?
Yeah. It's really interesting. Like, we're having clients kind of come to us who historically would have bought, like, as an example, like a chauffeur business who would have bought Mercedes-Benz Sprinters or S-Classes, are now coming forward and being like, yeah, I'm going to buy this van from a brand I've never heard of. I can't even remember the name of it. We had one the other day. But they seem to be really good cars, to be honest. Like, we've financed a few now over the last couple of years, and no one has anything but good things to say about them.
Yeah, interesting. And then when it comes to kind of the more equipment-y type stuff, like, are you seeing any issues there? Because I think a lot of the SME lenders that we talk to are like construction logistics still kind of problematic for a lot of them.
Less so in the asset space. I think a little bit on the business loan side, people are still wary about construction. Some lenders are also a bit wary of like hospitality and that side of the industry. But look, there's lenders to play in every market, right? So as long as you've got like a wide enough lender network, you'll be able to service every client.
Who do you reckon are your most commonly used lenders?
It's a good question. We actually have a massive spread. We get asked this all the time. I think the most loans we've ever written with a single lender in 1 month is 7.
Wow.
Yeah, we have
and you do like 40 a month sometimes.
Yeah,
it's a big spread.
We write like almost like every loan at a different lender. It's like a bit ridiculous, to be honest.
So what do you look for then? So why have so many what is the differentiation?
It can literally just be like 0.2% for us. I mean, we get the inquiry in, we qualify the customer, and then we work from the ground up. So like, all right, as a worst case scenario, this client's going to have to go here. And then we work our way up from there, and kind of find where we believe the best product and best interest rate will be. Some clients will want early termination fees. Some of them will want the best interest rate. Some of them will want this, that, etc. So we're very, very careful when we place clients.
And when you look at the kind of challenges you've been seeing in asset finance specifically, or maybe not, maybe in business loans as well, let's say commercial finance, what are kind of the biggest headaches that you're experiencing at the moment?
That's a good question. Let me think about how to answer that.
Politely.
I think for us as a small business that's just starting out, it's like I think one client for us is not necessarily always just one client. There's a partner behind that. There's a really good client behind that. There's a family friend behind that. There's this massive network off the back of a single client that can be kind of like the make or break of a huge new relationship for us, as an example. And what I find really frustrating at the moment is when someone ticks all the boxes of policy for a loan or a facility, and then for some reason it gets pulled apart, and kind of the application gets derailed because
by the lender.
Yeah, and I think look, I understand why that happens. Don't get me wrong, and I completely get it. But for us, I mean, like, a simple car loan that should have realistically flown through because we've literally ticked every single box of the policy, but then they come back and start asking for, like ridiculous documents. Like, to them, it doesn't seem like that big of a deal. They're just kind of checking compliance off, or they're just, crossing their I's, dotting their I's or crossing their T's. But for us, it can be catastrophic. I mean, it can mean that we lose a 15-person mortgage brokerage as a partner. So I think that, lenders with incredibly strict policies need to honour that policy.
What are some of the things that they're asking for that you think are ridiculous?
It's like turning a low dock into a full dock, or deciding that they're not happy with the asset after already approving it, or approving a specific term on an asset and then deciding that they actually don't want to do that term anymore.
Yeah.
Just that sort of stuff. It is far and few between. It's really far and few between. It's really nitpicky of me because it's an industry that I really like, and I actually don't have much bad to say about it. But that is kind of that's probably our biggest,
the main frustration. So what's the thing that you like best about it?
A lot of it, to be honest. A lot of it. I really like the industry. I think that there's a lot of really good people. I'm very, very lucky. I've had a lot of people help me. People who have had no rhyme or reason to help me at all, just out of the goodness of their hearts. I love working with clients. Like we've got one client who started working with us, would have been 9-10 months ago, and they started with one truck. They now have 12, and they're killing it. So watching that business grow is like, it's massive for me.
Yeah.
And then I love working with my team. I love seeing my team grow. Like the wins that we get as an office is like a massive driver for me. And I also love the flexibility. You know, the other day we had a really, really quiet day. So we jumped in the car and we went down to the driving range and we booked out like a booth and we just sat at the driving range and played golf while we worked.
Nice.
Because all you need is an internet connection, a phone and a laptop.
Yeah.
You can make it work.
Oh, well, if that doesn't make people want to become a broker, I don't know what will.
Yeah.
But it is also hard work.
It is.
We're going to take a quick break here. When we come back, I'd like to talk to you about your future plans. So what's next for KFG and what you kind of hope to achieve in 2026 and what you think the market will look like next year as well. And we'll get into that just after this message. So you mentioned, Felix, there about some of the challenges you're facing at the moment. But I wonder, looking forward, what do you think the market's going to look like in 2026? Because I think 2025 has been so weird as a lending market. Like,
yes,
in asset finance, really bumpy. There was like huge sort of rushes and then huge pullbacks. The same in resi, like it's been just ramping up to crazy levels. Like, what do you think 2026 will look like?
I'm really excited for 26, to be honest. I think for us, it's going to be a massive year. I think this year we've been finding our footing and we're about to leverage off. I think a lot of lenders are really finding their feet. We're seeing some massive, really, really exciting policy changes come in from a lot of our lending partners.
Like what?
It's a good question. We're seeing as an example, like Branded has completely revamped their entire product. The rates are really, really good now. I think that we're going to use moving forward, they're going to be a massive introduction point for us. Dynamoney's been working on their line of credit and their cash flow facility that's just incredible now. Their AutoPay, their private sale product is incredible. They've completely revamped it. They only dealt with dealerships. Now they do private sales. Again, still one of the easiest products in the market to use. It's like magic. Yeah. AutoPay. But it's really exciting to see kind of all this stuff rolled out because it was, especially last year, it was such a year of chop and changes. Like policy would change on a whim. So I think it's really exciting to be able to kind of look at what they're doing and seeing that the industry is getting ready. That like everyone's working on the technology. People are getting ready for a massive push next year. Yeah,
and I think what are for your plans for the business? I think you said you were looking to hire someone new.
Yeah, so I think we want to I don't want to grow too quickly. So I think we'll get maybe 1, maybe 2 more people on, and then we'll probably stabilize for the next 12 months and then keep growing.
Would they be brokers or support?
One would be broker. The other one would either be credit or sales, depending on which area we were lacking in.
So do you have an idea of how big you want to get, either in terms of volume or in terms of staff?
Yeah, I don't it's really difficult to say for sure, right? Because obviously the business is 18 months old. I'm quite young. Things can change tomorrow. But I think at a max capacity would probably be 10 to 15.
Okay.
In terms of staff, I think if we're doing kind of anywhere between 10 to $15 million a month in volume, it's pretty significant, especially for asset finance. I'd be pretty happy.
Pretty chuffed with that.
Yeah.
And then when you think about, I guess, the sort of things that you're going to be doing, you mentioned about, having a broker who does have resi experience.
Yes.
Do you ever think about diversifying, soon, whether into commercial property or into resi property?
Yes.
You're just avoiding NCCP altogether?
No. We also do NCCP. We do consumer car loans and personal loans. Obviously different ball game to kind of residential property, but it's something that obviously I have to think about all the time, especially for the trail commission, right? Because that's a big bonus for us. It's a big bonus for our staff. But I think it's difficult to try and master everything. I think we're really good at asset finance. I think we've got that process down really, really well. And I think that, as much as I'd love to say, we're going to start writing mortgages tomorrow, let's line up. I think I think for us, we're probably just going to stick at what we're really good at for some time now.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned golf already and
Yes.
how on the quiet days you went off to the driving range. Is that your main hobby outside of work?
Yes.
What else do you do then if you have like a particularly stressful day? Let's say you've had like something fell apart, a lender asked for something you didn't think they were going to. Maybe, you got the wrong coffee order. You're just not having your best day. How do you shake that day off?
I'm a bit of a movie buff. So I grew up with like a lot of classic movies. My dad introduced them to me when I was quite young. So for me, it's like, movies and TV shows.
Have you got any movies coming out that you're excited about?
Not actually coming out, to be honest. I like older movies.
Okay. And when you say classic, are you like 50s or are you like 80s? Like what period are we in here?
Everywhere.
Okay.
Like it's not necessarily classics alone, but I just love movies. Like a good movie from the 40s, I love. A good movie from 2025, I love.
Okay.
It's not about the time period.
Okay, cool. Have you seen any recommendations? Anything you've seen recently?
Yeah, I just got around to watching Tombstone, which is like
I've not
Western.
seen that.
Great movie. It's got Val Kilmer in it. It's incredible.
God, I don't know now. No offense to Val.
No, I would actually generally agree. He was really good in it.
Okay.
So I've just watched that recently. It was excellent.
All right, I'll put it on the list. I'll watch it over Christmas. I'm also I'm a Die Hard as a Christmas movie person.
Yeah.
So I'm going through the Die Hard series at the moment, and it's just so good.
It's good.
Some of them are so bad they're good. But yeah, it's very enjoyable. So if you haven't watched the Die Hard series, I'd fully recommend it as well. Looking ahead then, looking at kind of where else you're going to go, like what are your kind of main ambitions for your career? Like, do you have any kind of big, hairy goals for what you want to achieve as a broker?
Yes and no. I think like a lot of it, like I think I just want to focus on kind of growing the brokerage at the moment. And then once I get to a certain point, I'm either going to sell it or I'm going to move away from it, to be honest. I don't want to be doing it forever and ever and ever.
Why?
I think it's something, I just want to try different things, to be honest. Like I've stuck myself into broking at such a young age. And don't get me wrong, I absolutely love doing it. I really do. But I want to try other things at some point.
Go back into watches.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, 10-year path for me, at least 10 to 15 years is just head down, bum up.
Yeah.
Make something happen.
Because it's obviously the holiday period. Many people might be thinking about last minute Christmas gifts. Some people might be thinking about buying a watch. Any good recommendations for
that? Don't buy an Hublot.
Okay. Oh, God.
Don't buy an Hublot.
That's out my budget anyway, to be fair.
I think it depends on your price level. Like if you want something kind of middle entry level, a Tissot or a Seiko is incredible.
Okay.
In that mid-tier, Rolex, controversial, but Panerai, IWC is very good. It just depends on the
IWC do
budget.
look nice, but again, I'm more of like a Seiko girl.
I think people need to give more
Seiko
love
budget.
to Seiko. I think Seikos are incredible watches. I think my first 2 or 3 watches were all Seikos.
Okay.
And I think if you are looking for a nice watch, sub $1,000 or just on that $1,000 budget, you literally cannot go wrong. You cannot get better watches.
Do you know what I found the other day is my original Baby G,
Yes,
which
yes.
I am so happy about. It is fluorescent pink. But I'm now I feel kind of weird about it. Like I kind of want to wear it, but I'm also like, it's kind of embarrassing.
They're coming back. Yeah. They're really cool.
Anyway, we're getting off track here. Just to summarize, Felix. So if anyone listening is just starting out in their broking journey, whether it's an asset or as a resi broker, looking back on what you've learned over your career so far, what advice would you give them?
Broking is an incredibly competitive industry, but in the same vein, people are really generous with their time. If you're just starting out, even if you're at a brokerage, even if you've got a mentor, reach out as much as you can. Find a brokerage that you think you like what they're doing online, whether it be they're posting on Instagram or LinkedIn or something. Reach out to them. Say, hey, I'm new. Have you got any tips for me? I guarantee 9 times out of 10, they will give you advice. They will help you. They will sit down with you. They'll probably go for coffee with you. Learn what other people in the industry are doing to help yourself. please reach out to them. Reach out to us if you've got questions for me. You can find my number on the website. Call me. I'm really happy to answer any questions.
That's very kind. And I agree. I think this industry is so generous with their time. And, I think a lot of people, when they start their own small business, is like, I just don't know what I'm doing and I need some help, even about like, how do I use my accounting software, or like, how do I set up my CRM?
It's and like the pressure from it can really build on you to the point where like you've got something that should be really easy or really simple, but you've got so much other external pressure that it becomes a really complicated task.
Yeah.
Just reach out.
Yeah. Love that. And thank you for offering that support. I'm sure many people now will reach out to you and be like, help me, Felix. Thank you so much for coming in to share your story with us here at the Advisor Podcast Network, and wishing you a very happy holiday and best of luck for growing the business in 2026.
Yeah, you too. Thanks for having me on.
If you've got any questions for me, do feel free to reach out. You can reach me at editor@theadvisor.com.au. And of course, check out Katzen Financial Group if you want to find out more about what Felix is doing with his business. And take a listen back to previous episodes here on the Advisor Podcast Network. We've got almost a decade of podcasts now that you can go through the back catalogue. You can find out more about what Australia's leading brokers are doing to build their businesses, to get over the challenges, and to make sure that they've got a successful career ahead. So do check them all out. And of course, if you are taking a break over the holidays, then we hope you all have a fantastic holiday period. We'll be back with you in January. And for the rest of you, Happy New Year.